Welcome to Fitting Model 101. I am Julie, your host, and today I'm going to teach you how to sell your body. Thanks for joining me today on Fitting Model 101, where you get to learn the ins and outs of the fit modeling industry. Today is an exciting day and also a very important lesson for new upcoming fit models, because today I'm going to teach you how to sell your body. And I don't mean in any derogatory or demeaning way, but as far as fit models go, it has nothing to do with your pretty face. It has everything to do with selling your body first. And then second, it has to do with the knowledge you know. Thirdly, it has to do with your personality. And fourthly, it has to do with your image. So today I'm going to give you the scoop on selling your body. And I'm not talking about selling your body, I'm talking about your measurements. And when you go in for an interview, you get your measurements taken. And you're usually wearing your bra and your underwear. Sometimes a swimsuit, but most often it's bra and your underwear. And that's why I say you cannot be overly modest, because you can't. You're getting interviewed in your bra and underwear. Where do you go for a job like that? Well, there are a few places, but we're not going to talk about those places today. Jolene is here with me. That's what I've named my dress form here. And she is going to be my aide. And I'm going to teach you today how to do your measurements. So when you go in for a fitting, they start with the measurements from the top down. And that is your cranium. It's very important, your head size, because when you put garments on, you don't want them to be too tight and constricting around your head. She doesn't have a head, so I'll give you mine. And my brain is 22 and a half. The average head size is 22 to 23 inches. And it can go up to 24. Some people have large heads. And that's one thing you need to think about when you're doing a fitting. You want to make sure that the head circumference, the neck circumference, is going to fit over your head. It's not going to pull your makeup off or pull your eyelashes off or whatever, or be uncomfortable. You don't want it to be choking, even if it does have stretch. So that's one thing to consider in the fit modeling industry, right from the start. So your head measurement, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish on her, and I'm going to show you what will happen during an interview, and also pay attention to what I call each area of the body, because when you go in for an interview, you're going to want to move your body in the way that they're taking the measurements, as if you know. So learn, because you're going to figure it out. They're going to start with the neck. So her neck is 12 inches, which is very skinny. I have a 14 and a half neck. And then they're going to start with the across shoulder. So this is the across shoulder. It goes shoulder edge to shoulder edge. She's 16. Then they will start, let's turn her back around, with her shoulder, her sleeve drop. So they'll go from the shoulder edge down her sleeve to right at her wrist. She's 23 inches. After that, they're going to do from the center back neck to her sleeve. Now, this is important. When you do this measurement, you're going to want to bend your arm slightly forward for reach. If you don't, and it's too straight, it's not the full measurement. You kind of have to have a little bit of an angle. So they go from the center back neck, which is center back neck, across the shoulder, down to the elbow, to the wrist, and she's 31 inches. Next, they're going to do across front. Now across front is 5 inches down from the high point shoulder. High point shoulder, HPS, is the highest point on the shoulder. 5 inches down, which would be here, straight across. Her across front is 13 and looks like 13 and a half, we'll just say. Then they will take the across back. Same thing, 5 inches down from high point shoulder. And she is 14 1/4. The next measurement they will take is the center front to waist. So it would be at the gape of her neck, which is right here, and to right at her waist, which is the smallest point of your waist. Some people think it's your belly button, but your belly button is not technically your waist. The waist is the smallest measurement. So wherever your hands go, the smallest point is your waist. So hers is 15. Now they do the same from the back. They go from center back neck to center back waist. She's about 16 3/8. The next measurement they're going to take is your torso measurement. So we start at the high point shoulder. The torso measurement goes all the way around through the crotch, over the bust, and they will usually use 2 measuring tapes or a longer measuring tape. Mine is slightly short, so I'm not getting the full measurement. But if I calculate it, and you don't want to, they'll never pull too tight in the crotch because you want to have a little bit of ease. Ease is like extra space for clothing or underwear or something else. But she's 60 inches to this point, so she's about 64 inches is her total torso length. The next length they'll do is the rise. Rise goes from middle of the waist to middle of the waist through the crotch. So once again, to the middle of the waist, leave some ease, don't pull too tight. My tape measure is a little thrashed. I've been using it for years. She is 28 1/4. That's her rise measurement. Now, when you're also at the sleeve, you don't want to forget there is the muscle or bicep. It's a couple inches down from the armhole. And she's about 11 3/4. Then the elbow is 9 1/2. Her wrist is 6. And then there's the armhole circumference, which you don't want to also take too tightly. So as long as it doesn't get stuck up in there. Her armhole circumference is, let's see that, get up in there, about 17. Okay, so next after we do that, apex. So the apex is basically the nipple, but in the fashion industry it's called apex because it is the center. You're going to do apex to apex, and those are important measurements for bust darts and how clothing fits. So her apex to apex is 8, and then you have the high point to the apex, and she's 10 1/2. A junior fit model is going to be a higher, so I'm Missy fit model. I'm older. When I was younger, I had a higher apex, and after gravity and age, I have a lower apex. But that's okay, because every woman does. That's just how the body works. My apex is about a 1/2 inch lower than it was 15 years ago. So thank you, gravity. Next measurement would be her, let's do her outseam. So her outseam goes from, let's lift her arm up, goes from her waist down to the ankle. So she is 39 3/4. After the outseam, don't want her to hit me in the face, is her inseam measurement. And that goes from her crotch. Now, usually as a fit model, the pattern maker, tech person, whoever she's working with will say, can you hold this please? Because nobody wants to be up holding that against her crotch. So you don't have to worry about that. So she will hold this, and her measurement from her inseam is 28, it looks like. Then after that, Now, the most important measurements that they'll take, and sometimes you may just go in for a fitting or an interview, and they'll take your across shoulder, your bust, your waist, your high hip, your low hip. That's it. They may just do those 5 measurements because those are the most important. So I didn't even get to the bust. Let's go. Her bust is 34.5 inches. Her waist is 28.5 inches. Her high hip, which is 5 inches from the waist, you can see here it's already marked, so I don't have to measure it. You make sure it's even on the body. Her high hip is 34.5. Her low hip would be 8 inches below the waist. And she is 39 inches at her low hip. Now, for me, my low hip is lower than 8 inches. So they don't always stick to the standard because as your body changes, as you know, we go from junior to Missy, our biggest points change. So my biggest point isn't 8 inches down, it's 10 inches down. I'm a little bit hippie and I have more thigh. So they take that measurement for me because they always want to make sure they take the biggest measurement on your body. The next measurement they're going to take would be my thigh, which is 1 inch below my crotch. And that is, she's 23.25. And then they're going to take the mid thigh, which is usually about 3 to 4 inches above the knee. It's about right here. And her mid thigh, some people take it here, but it's different for every company. Her mid thigh is 16.5. Her knee is 15. And then her ankle is 8.75. So I think I got all of her measurements. Make sure I didn't forget anything. Nope, I think that's good. So that's basically what is going to happen to you when you go in for an interview. You're going to get all those areas measured, and that will determine whether you get the job or not. So I hope you like what you learned today at Fitting Model 101. I know it was a lot to take in, but you can always go to my website, fittingmodel101.com, to download a PDF version of the dress form and all the specs and terms that you'll need to know for your interview process. I hope you like what you have seen. If you have, please share it with somebody and hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you back here next Friday.